Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Season 2 of Tier List Tuesdays. This is the second year we've been doing this now. That's exciting.
Oh yeah, here we go.
And, I'm sorry for cutting you off already. This is not a good start. Oh my god.
It's just, that's our constant state of being, constantly cut off. It's all we do.
We're a little out of touch. I'm Teller Morose, joined by my co-host YOYO. This is Tier List Tuesdays. If you don't know how this works, we have these lists over here, and we're going to rate them. Jesus Christ.
We're going to rank each individual item on the list from S to F based completely arbitrarily on how much we like or dislike them.
There it is. Thank you. And today our category is Deep Questions. We found this website that I believe was called thoughtcatalog.com. We will put the link to the article in the description. These were the top 11 deep questions to ask someone if you really want to get to know them, or something along the lines of that. It was written, I believe, by someone by the name of Raina Naeem. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But yeah, these were the top 11 questions.
Beautiful.
And I'm slowly realizing that we have the F category cut off on the screen recording. And I'm panicking.
Oh no, that's not the F category.
Yeah, the F category. Oh yeah, S is the best, F is the worst. You probably could have figured that out.
Yes, I'm sure they could have.
Yeah. So the first one that we have is the question, what's your philosophy in life? We're also going to do our best to answer these questions as we go, unless it's just a very difficult question to answer or we don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. This is a very, wide question.
Yeah, see, I don't really like this question very much, because I feel like it's very, it's too open, you know? Mm-hmm. You might find some people that have, some really interesting ones, but I think for the most part, everyone's going to go with, the golden rule that goes across every single religion or non-religion. Just treat others how you want to be treated.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, actually. I was like, what's your philosophy in life? See, I can come up with some stuff, but when it comes down to it, it's like, is that my philosophy in life? Is that what I live by? Yeah, no, probably not. I mean, it's kind of boiled it down, I guess, But,
yeah. The immediate thing that came to mind for me was just the... I started wording it as a positive apathy, I guess. Of just as long as you're not hurting other people or, doing any sort of damage to the things or people around you, do whatever you want.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty much kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
Life's for the living. Just, do what you can, live your life to the best of your ability, do what you want to do. Try not to worry about things too much. You're here until you aren't.
Right. That being said, I don't know, this is a D tier question for me.
Yeah, it's just a bit too open-ended, and it doesn't really, it's going to get you an answer, but what does that answer really mean, right?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
It's if you could sum up everything about how you feel about life in one sentence, what would it be? No. Don't ask me that.
I was going to say yep, but, Oh.
All right, we disagree there. So we'll put it in D for disagree.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think we disagree on D, though. I think D is pretty good here.
Yeah. All right, and we are moving on to what's one thing you would like to change about yourself? I can answer this, but I don't like the question because it's kind of overtly negative.
Well, yes. I'm kind of half and half on it as a question, because on the one hand, it is a good question.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's an uncomfortable question.
Yeah.
It's a question that you ask somebody and they might lie to you, because honestly, who wants to tell you this?
Right.
This is the thing about them that they're least proud of.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine like you're having a good conversation with somebody who, let's say, you met a couple days ago, and they're just like, "Hey, think of something you don't like about yourself for a minute. Like, what's something about yourself that you don't like?"
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, ouch. Thanks for that.
It is a good question though, because it shows you what a person thinks about themselves, and it shows you like what it is that they value in a person.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It just isn't exactly a good question to make someone like you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good answer to this, just in my own, lifestyle. What's something I'd want to change? I think the laziness is probably a big one for me.
Yeah. Funny enough, my philosophy on life was, live your life how you want to live it. However, if I could change one thing about myself, I wish I was less content. I wish I was more ambitious. I was more like driven to do things, to change things for the better. Because as is, I'm a very, very content person. I'm happy, just chilling.
Hmm.
But like, if I could change one thing about me, I would love it if I were like really, ambitious, real go getter. I want to go out there and I want to, get a great job and be politically active and make changes in the world. Nah, man. I'm happy to just sit here, sip my
Yeah.
tea, eat a sandwich,
Play some video games.
call it a day.
Yeah. I think mine's similar, but like I have that mindset, but sometimes my it's like my brain will think I should go and do, make some more music, do some more of this stuff, and then my body's just like, but video games? So,
My mind is telling me no.
but my body. Fuck that guy. Anyway, I don't know. This is I think slightly better than the life philosophy question. I think I'd put it in C or B.
Yeah, it's a question that I like, but it's offensive in nature, so I would say
Yeah.
it's probably C. Good
Yeah.
question, bad to ask.
There you go. That's the right way to put it. If it's someone like somewhat well, it might be an easier question to answer. I feel like.
Yeah.
What would you change? I can't type.
Someone who's not going to get offended when you ask them to explain what they like least about themselves.
Right. Right. Next question is: are you religious or spiritual? I'm just not gonna answer this.
Ooh.
And not because it's like it's not your business or anything. It's just I don't know the correct way to explain, the way that my brain works when it comes to this kind of stuff.
I think this question, like in and of itself, is a little bit too close-ended, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, we had the too open-ended philosophy in life. Now you're saying, are you religious or spiritual? Where it's just like, what are your thoughts on religion? Where do you stand on religion, theology? Well, what religion do you prescribe to, if any? It's a
Right.
very like specific question, but it has a much wider range of answers than the question would suggest.
Yeah. Because I can imagine, there's probably people out there where someone will ask them, "Are you religious or spiritual?" And they'll be like, "No,"
Yes,
and
exactly.
then it just kind of ends, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I do think it's not the worst question in the world, especially if it's something you can work your way towards actually having a conversation about. But I feel like there are quite a few people out there that would just, like you said, it's a very closed ended, where someone could just be like, yeah, or no, or I'm a Christian.
Yeah, I
like
think
whatever.
you want to ask a more like open-ended version of this question if you ask it, and I do think it is a good question. Well, maybe not a good question; it's an important question because religion matters to people like a lot.
Hmm.
I am spiritual. I do not prescribe to a specific religion.
Right.
However, I am very strong in my specific spiritual beliefs that are not a religion specific. And I'm happy to, cuss and discuss that with people. it means a lot to me, and religion means a lot to a lot of people. So,
Right.
An important question, if not exactly a good one.
Right. I don't know. I feel like I'd put it in D. It's still kind of like it's just like a either super easy or super difficult one to answer, and I don't think there's really an in between.
I mean, I feel like most of the people who are, I don't think it's super difficult to answer. Really, like I feel like it does kind of open a conversation.
Yeah.
But that's
I think I kind of drew out
the
of my
idea.
own feeling about that question because for me it's a little more complicated than just like yes or no. But
Yeah, and I mean that's fine, but that's kind of like something with every deep question. You never know what deep question you're going to ask is going to make somebody really upset. Like if you ask somebody that has an eating disorder, what's the one thing they would change about themselves? They might get a little heated about that.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All of these questions do have kind of a hint of like there is like that somewhat painful undertone to them, I think.
Yeah, it's how comfortable are you with yourself,
Yeah, yeah.
But
I don't know. Where are you feeling on the list?
I think it probably fits in C pretty well.
Okay.
I don't think it's as bad as D because D was just like open ended with like you don't get anything out of the answer either.
Right.
Whereas C, like you have the chance to offend somebody, but I do think the answer is pretty important, pretty worthwhile.
Okay. Next up, we have: do you consider yourself introverted or extroverted? Personally, I hate this question quite a bit because I don't think people are naturally introverted or extroverted. I think it just depends on the environment and the situation and the people they're with. Usually, I would find myself to be more on the side of introverted. You can't see my air quotes, but introverted. But, if I'm with the right people, I'm, way more lively and way more... I don't know. It's just like, I don't have a problem with strangers or anything like that. I think a lot of people see people who are, like, considered to be introverted or more just, like, calm or mellow or... I don't know. It's weird to me because, like, saying you're introverted makes it sound like you don't know how to talk to people.
Okay, so I see where you're coming from. I do think that there is like a certain, almost like a stigma around introverted and extroverted.
Yeah.
Because it's, you're right. People do think of the introverted person as the quiet one, the nerd, the reserved one, whatever you want to call it. Whereas when I think of introverted, I think more of like how much do they want to and enjoy just being around people.
Yeah.
And I do consider myself somewhat introverted, but at the same time, everybody needs to be around people to an extent.
Right.
And as introverted as I am, if I go a week without talking to any of my friends, without seeing any of them, I'm like 100%. I don't know, like jonesing to see him. We'll call it.
Yeah. I'm downright jonesing to see him now.
Yeah, well, you really like genuinely, like even as an introvert, you get lonely.
Yeah. And that's the thing I don't really understand is like, I don't think anyone always prefers all the time to like be by themselves. That's psychotic. Right. I prefer to be around people constantly. But at the same time, like, I'm not someone who's like running around and, trying to be the most lively person in the room. I love being around people, but I'm always, usually the person who's just like chilling. So I don't know if that makes me the introverted person or the extroverted person. And to me, it's like those two terms don't really describe people people are multifaceted and multidimensional, and you just trying to put them in one of those two things just doesn't make sense to me.
The most interesting definition for introverted versus extroverted that I've ever heard was whether or not you get energy or lose energy from spending time with people.
Huh. Okay. I would
Me
assume
personally,
introverted people lose
yes.
their... Yeah.
And that describes me quite well. Even spending times with my friends, if I spend like 3 or 4 days in a row hanging out with my friends, I'm actually like socially exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I just don't want to. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to talk to people anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, all right, look, you know what? Let's just play video games quietly and separately. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. There's been times where we would hang out in person, and then we'd just like run out of shit to do while we're hanging out in person. We just, go to our respective houses and play video games online.
yeah.
It's like,
I mean, sometimes it just gets to that point where it's just like, you know what? This has been great, but I think I just need a little bit of space, and just something I can turn my brain off and stop, socializing.
Yeah. I think there's the term that's being thrown around a little bit more and more recently, the social battery concept. How long can you be out in a social area before you just kind of get a little too either mentally or emotionally drained by it?
I've never heard the term before, but it sounds like it applies quite well.
Yeah, and for a lot of people, the quote unquote introverted people would have a shorter social battery life than people who are extroverted. But again, I feel like just about everyone feels that after a while. It's like, we gotta rest, we gotta relax, we gotta have me time or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, and then depending on it's much easier to hang around a group of close friends. It's much less draining on your social battery than it is to hang around strangers.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah,
you know what?
I still think the question's bad though, because it doesn't get you anything. If a person describes themselves as introverted, you already knew. If a person describes himself as extroverted, you also probably already knew.
Yeah.
If it's a surprise, you still didn't learn anything.
Hear me out on this. I think this is a good question just because of how much we got out of that one prompt. We talked about a good bit of stuff just based on that.
Yeah. Well, that's primarily because you were heavily opinionated against it, and I was like, I don't think it's terrible.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean...
It's like we both did answer the question, but we also got a good bit of, our own ideals out of it.
Yeah.
I don't like the terms introverted or extroverted, but it got us talking. I mean...
It did. But I think that might have more to do with us and less to do with the question.
Yeah, that's true.
And just the fact that, we were both opinionated on the question.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I don't know, man. I don't know where I'd put this question, because I don't hate it. It's just, I feel like there's, a lot to talk about when it comes to that kind of, those two words are very... I don't like them, but it's something that I like to talk about.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess we did talk about it a good bit. It did get us talking. So maybe it goes in B.
I was thinking B.
Okay.
It's slightly more passable because of the conversation that we had based around all that.
Yeah.
I would like to know if you're watching this, how you feel about those kind of what's the word I'm looking for, social labels on how people are supposed to interact in certain environments and stuff. Because I've never really heard people say I'm extroverted. Most people always just say no, I'm introverted, and eventually I want to stop hanging out with people and want to have me time and stuff. And I feel like that's normal. So if you're out there and you like have no quote unquote social battery and you're cool just being around new people all the time, talk to us. I'm curious. Also, subscribe and check out our social media. Sorry, what? Go ahead.
I was going to make a joke about social batteries.
Oh.
You said talk to us. I was going to say, but not for too long, though. We got to recharge sometimes.
Yeah. Don't talk to us for too long. I want to sleep eventually. Next question is, which parent are you closer to and why? I don't like the and why part. I feel like that can lead to some very, over-emotional conversations or, anger-filled conversations possibly.
Yeah, but what do you get out of without the why? Which parent are you closer to?
Yeah, I guess that's
my
fair.
dad.
I think for me it'd probably be my mom, but
yeah,
neither of them are we're not super tight. Our family's our immediate family is all physically close. Our extended family is way off across countries and shit like that. But my mom was a teacher, so when I was growing up, it was she worked in schools and kind of knew what we were going through and dealing with, and I don't know. That's pretty much it for me.
See, I'm really half and half on this question.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's another one of those ones where I feel like a lot of people have parent issues,
mm-hmm.
parent trauma, parent drama.
Right, yeah. Family drama is a big thing. And
for getting to know somebody, I don't know, it's not necessarily a super comfortable topic to talk about, and it's also while I'm sure some people are totally 100% chill with oh yeah, I love my mom, she's the absolute best, she's fantastic, she does blank blank blank, I love her very much, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Do you talk with someone about that? Are you going to say this to another person? Me kind of doubt.
I've heard people kind of have those conversations where they're just oh, my mother or father is wonderful, and they do all these great things, and I'm that's cool, and it's not I did say I think I'm emotionally closer to my mom, but it's not like my dad's a bad person or anything like that.
Yeah,
it's just he worked for context, he worked nights, so would be asleep most of the day or going to work by the time I was getting home from school, and it's just it's not anything wrong with that. It's he worked nights, I just didn't quite see him as much.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, that's not an interesting conversation. And there, like you said, there might be people out there that have the whole family drama or whatever. But I don't really want to talk to someone about their family drama, man. That's
yes.
I kind of hate it.
See, that's the thing. If they sing the praises of their parent, it's oh, okay. And if they tell you your family drama, it's great. Oh boy.
Yeah. And that's not a conversation I want to get into with people I really, truly care about. So why would I want to do that when I'm getting to know somebody?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, call me a piece of shit or whatever, because I don't really, But it's not my family. I don't know the people. And, I can probably feel for you or whatever if you have that sort of issue, but I don't really know, man.
Yeah, I mean, also, it's another thing where it's I'm not a psychiatrist. This doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
You could tell me that you love your mom and she's great, or you could tell me that your parents divorced and this has affected you greatly. That doesn't mean anything to me. I don't get anything out of that.
Yeah.
What does that tell me about you?
Right.
I shouldn't bring up your mom anymore, I guess, or your dad, whatever.
Yeah, but it's I don't think I would ever ask this question.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd be what do your parents do for a living or something like that, and maybe we'll get into that kind of topic, but...
Yeah, and that's one of those things where if there are, drama or issues there, they'll be oh, I just live with, mom, or well, I don't really talk to my dad anymore. That's it. You don't really get into the issues. People
Yeah.
just like pass it off.
Yeah, you just kind of move along. It's like, okay, that's probably a touchy thing for them. Don't talk about it more.
Yeah.
And then, like, ask me this question, and I want to play this out a little bit.
I mean, okay. So, which parent are you closer to, and why?
My dad, I don't really, my mom kind of left when I was young, so we don't really keep up with that.
Ah, that sucks.
Yeah, and that's kind of it. Or it's like, which parent are you closer to? Oh, my dad, and my mom kind of left when I was young, so I don't really talk to her anymore. It's like, and why? And then you're even worse of a person. It's like, why what, you dick? Like, don't ask me that.
Yeah, I think this is a bad question.
Yeah, I'm thinking E.
Yeah, I think
because it's not
good.
the worst thing in the world, but it is like, maybe just don't. Jesus.
There's not much point in asking it.
Thing again.
Stop doing the thing, bro. Come on.
I don't know why it's doing the thing. Okay, E. Which parent are you closer to, and why?
E for exceptionally pointless.
That's the one right there. Okay, next up we have, what was the best phase of your life? The best phase of my life was when the person listening to this subscribed to the YouTube channel and followed us on social media. It was just so good. Please, we want to make money and do more cool stuff, please. We only need like a little bit more watch time, but we need some subscribers. Please subscribe. Anyway. Interessant. I can easily answer this. The best phase of my life was when I was in a band and was playing live shows and was like occasionally doing like, touring kind of stuff. And it was super fun, and I miss that. And please, 2021, get better so I can start doing that again.
This is both this question and the next one. I don't really like very much.
Yeah.
Because the best phase of my life, I don't look back on my life very often. I try not to. I reminisce on it, roughly once a year around my birthday, where I think about,
the last year.
The last year and how did it compare to the years before.
Yeah.
But in general, I do not think any particular time was like my golden time where I was at my absolute best. In fact, every single year I pray to myself that the next one is better.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope the best phase of my life is not here yet. It's down the line.
It's ahead of you.
Yes,
Yeah.
I certainly hope so. Because otherwise, that means I'm striving towards absolutely nothing. And that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's not a bad question, but it has, again, like that sort of iffy negative undertone of like, yeah, your best years are behind you.
Yep.
Think about them.
Mm-hmm. Don't you remember when you were a kid and you didn't have a care in the world? Wasn't that the best time ever?
No. I got bullied. I hated it.
See, that's the thing, man. There's always something that wasn't great, and like some people look back on the past with their rose tinted glasses or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, high school was the best. I loved high school." No, I hope high school wasn't the best for you because high school was bad. High school sucks. What are you talking about?
This is a weird one for me because I don't feel like there was really ever a best or worst phase of my life so far.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I could... There it is. Excuse me. I was waiting for that since the moment we hit record. Jesus, I might cut that. I'm sorry. I think the best phases of my life so far were also kind of the worst phases because every, part of your life isn't just like, wow, this is always good. There's always, bad stuff that's sprinkled in with the good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, even like I said earlier, like the whole playing in a band, and that was like, that still is kind of my dream, is doing that for a full-time job. But it still kind of sucks, there's it's just like any other job where you don't have, or you have people you don't get along with, and there's things about it you don't really like, and sometimes it's frustrating and stressful, and sometimes it's really fun and sometimes it's not, and that's just like any other part of your life. So I feel like they're bad questions just for the sole sense of like, you can't pinpoint a phase, as they put it, of your life without thinking there were bad parts to it as well.
Yeah.
Everything is simultaneously the best and worst phase of your life.
I pretty much agree with that. There's good and bad to everything, and like there are times when I think back on elementary school where I would just like come home and play games because I did my homework on the bus because I was a nerd and it was super easy. And then I just come home and play video games until dinner time, and then I go eat dinner, and then I come back, and you know what I'd do? I'd play video games again. Mm-hmm. And then I'd go to bed. And sometimes I think about that, and I'm like, oh, wow, that was really, really good. But you know what? I did absolutely nothing productive in that entire day.
Exactly.
I learned a little bit at school, probably. That's not a guarantee either. So, right. Yeah.
There's also, I was thinking about this, like, just a couple weeks ago, I had a really good day, because I currently do not have a conventional day job, or whatever you want to call it. And I woke up, and I immediately went to my little studio area, and I finished 2 songs. Like, from start to finish, and I was like, wow, this is great. I'll have to go back and mix them or whatever, but, like, I got all of this done. And then it was getting pretty late, so I went back to my room, and I checked my phone and realized that I hadn't talked to anybody that day. And I was like, oh, like, that could have gone better. I could have, kept a conversation going with somebody, or, checked in on a friend, and then I felt kind of bad. It's like, it was still a good day, but it was also like, man, I
Are you supposed to feel bad about that?
I mean, like, I didn't talk to my girlfriend a lot. I didn't talk to any of the people I live with. I didn't, I was kind of just in my own little world in front of my computer, and it was productive. Okay. But, as we talked about this on the last season 1 episode we did, it's like you kind of have to balance that productivity with your social life, and picking one over the other can feel nice, but also, to me, there's always going to be that hint of, oh man, I didn't do this thing, or I could have been more productive, or I could have been more social. And that just trails back into what I was saying earlier of, like, there can be good phases in your life, and the best phases can exist, but you can always realize that there's bad parts to them. That was a long rant to say I don't care for either of these questions.
Yep.
I hope it's a podcast. I'm not apologizing. Fuck you. The whole point is that we talk.
It is the whole point. Yeah, these questions are bad. I think you could probably just condense it into one, like, best/worst phase. Yeah. And just throw it down into, E, maybe F.
Okay. I was thinking D or E, but, nah, E is fitting.
Not D. Yeah, it does not belong in D. Get out of here.
All right. Days of your life. Love. Ooh, it's my life.
Oh, no.
What was the best and worst phases? Anyway, next question is what you're doing right now what you always wanted to do growing up? This goes straight into F.
Really?
No one can answer this with a positive yes.
What? But I don't think. Wait. Hold on. But even if the answer is no, is it a bad thing? I actually like this question. I like this question a lot.
Okay, persuade me. What you got?
So for me, like, even if it's almost definitely going to be a no, you're going to get them talking about something that they were really interested in when they were a kid, something that they were passionate about. And you know, you probably get to know a side of them that you didn't, because this guy, he's an accountant. Did he want to be an accountant growing up? God, no. This man wanted to be a paleontologist. He loved dinosaurs, bro. Is he super sad and bitter that he's not a paleontologist? I imagine not. I would be very surprised if he was real sore about that.
Okay. See, again, whiny little artist over here. When I was a kid and I had dreams of things, it was to be a musician and an entertainer. So for me, the answer is kind of yes, but also very much no, because I thought when I was like 17, I was going to be a fucking superstar. So is what I'm doing now what I always wanted to do growing up? Technically, yes, but God, no. And I don't know. I feel like you will learn, I guess, like you said, people's childhood dreams and stuff like that. And
Well,
I'm sure.
mean, I still think that's worth having a conversation about, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, but also God, no. Okay, well, what did you think was going to be the case? Well, when I was a kid, I thought I was going to, make it big. But by 17, I was going to be a superstar. And it's like, oh, really? Okay, interesting.
I mean, yeah, I guess that is a little tidbit of knowledge that no one really knew. I was super depressed in high school because when I turned 17, I was like, I'm still in high school. I'm not successful. My brain sucks, dude. Like, don't ever bring me to a therapist. They will quit their job.
I don't know, man. We all could use a therapist at times.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know. I do feel like it's like a kind of subtle way of saying, like, what did you want to do when you were a kid? Like, what did you dream of being when you were growing up?
And it also brings in, like, what you're doing now. And then it invites the story of how you went from A to B.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know. To me, it's like there's still that jab of, oh, you're not doing what you've always wanted to do when you were a kid? Why
but like
not?
you said, nobody is.
Yeah.
Literally, like, the only people I can think of that maybe potentially, like, get a chance like that is they liked football and they wanted to be a professional football player.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
And I guess maybe some musicians, like, there's those kind of, like, entertainer stuff where, like, there are one in every million, one in every whatever, that dreamed about it all their life and make it big.
Yeah.
And if you meet one of them and they can answer this question and say, yes, absolutely, this is exactly what I've always wanted. Okay. Good for them.
Yeah.
And good for you for knowing them, I guess. But pretty much every other average Joe, every other Joe Schmo, no one dreams of being the manager of a McDonald's.
Well,
No. Nope.
okay. Yeah, I guess it's a weird thing because I feel like for the average person, it might be difficult to understand and accept what you're saying. That, like, no one really gets to do what they wanted to do, when they're a kid and dreaming about stuff. Especially when you're a kid and you don't really understand the chances of you getting the job you're thinking about. Like, I want to be an astronaut. It's like, oh, I hate to break this to you, kid, but you're not going to be an astronaut.
That's the whole point of being a kid, though, right? Is that,
that's fair.
When you're a kid, your dreams have no limits. You are willing to throw it all out on a 1 in a billion just because it's possible. You could be the next president of Unicorn Land.
Yeah, I don't know. Call me a pessimist, I guess. But if I heard a kid say that in my head, I'd be like, "I got some bad news for you, dude. Unicorn Land doesn't even exist. It's called Jamaica, and it's very different than what you think it is."
Wow. All right.
I don't know where that came from.
I'm not.
Just ignore me for a minute.
No,
you have a point, though. This is a really good question. It's just, I feel like the way it's worded bothers me a little bit. Because I think if I were asking this, and I hate, cutting you off like this, but
good.
if I were to say, when you were a kid, what did you, want to be when you grew up? And then someone said, oh, like I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid. Like the transition for me would be like, so what got you interested in what you're doing now, rather than saying, is what you're doing right now what you always wanted to do growing up? I don't know. There's something about the way it's worded where I feel like you could, get more towards what you're saying by asking the question differently.
I mean, yes, you can ask, like, what they wanted to do when they were young and then proceed to ask how they ended up doing what they're doing now instead. Mm-hmm. But, that's two questions. This is one question that does the same thing. Maybe not as gracefully because the answer is no, and nobody wants the answer to be no. But I don't think it's a bad no. I don't think it's a no that most people are going to be sore about. Like Markiplier, he's got that meme on his channel of he could have been an engineer.
Oh yeah.
Does he actually genuinely get really upset about how he could have been an engineer? No. God, no. He's so successful. I'm sure he's fine not being an engineer.
Yeah. And I guess there's also the point that, like, we kind of mentioned it, but when you're a kid, you don't really have a grasp of anything. And so as you're growing up, your values and your opinions and, the things that make you happy are going to change.
Would you like to know my answer to this question?
Yes.
See,
no, you got to start with yes or okay. I was gonna say you got to start with yes or no, which is why I don't like the question. I think.
Well, I mean, you don't have to. You could start roundabout, but then you don't answer the question directly. But
Yeah.
So no, of course. Right now, I move boxes for a living, which is not what you dream about as a kid. I can tell you now. Yeah. However, when I was a kid, what I wanted to be, the thing that I wanted to do, I wanted to be a video game designer and a professional charter fisherman.
Those are two very different things.
No.
No?
Nope, not at all. Charter fisherman, you do it on the weekends. Make video games during the week.
But those are two very different things.
I mean, I guess they could be.
Yeah. If you can explain to me how those are similar. Yeah. No, I'm not saying they have to be, but...
But that was, as a kid, like, 100% that was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
When I was asked, that was what I would write down. I'm like, what job do you want? Video game designer / charter fisherman?
Here's the weird part. I knew that answer, which makes me happy that it's like, I know what my friend wanted to be when he was growing up as a child. As weird as that may sound. We didn't know each other until we were like late teenagers. But it is kind of...
I knew your answer too.
Yeah. Mine was super obvious. If you met me, I was like, hi, my name is Teller Morose. I want to be a musician.
Yeah. 100%.
Even when I didn't know anything, like I didn't know about like how music theory worked until I was like a sophomore in high school. And I played piano since I was like 7.
I think one of our first conversations was something along the lines of like, hey, hi, what are you interested in? Oh, I do music.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That sounds about right, yeah. Oh, Jesus. I don't know. Where were you feeling for this question? Because
I like the question a lot.
You've
I
talked me
think
up
it's
a
A.
good bit, but okay. I was thinking B or C, but I'm totally for putting it in A.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good question. I just don't like the way it was worded.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit worded strange, but at the same time, I think it's because it's really two questions, and you're just pushing it into one.
Right. Now, this next one is a question I can definitely get behind. What makes you feel accomplished? I like this question because there's no negative undertones unless for some reason you can't think of anything that makes you feel accomplished.
The question has some negative undertones for me, but not because I can't think of anything. But
Okay.
we'll get there.
I mean, I can answer this right off the bat. I think I've talked about this before on an earlier episode of one of the podcasts, but finishing a song, a YouTube video, a book, a video game, like if I finish reading a book or completing a video game story, I get through that, I'm like, I did that. Like, nice. Especially the music one, where it's like, if I finish a song, I'm like, I did that. I can show proof that I've done this thing, and even if people don't really like it, I can say that I've, done more than the average person who, considers being a musician but doesn't actually go through with it and stuff like that, It's like, finishing one song puts me miles ahead of a lot of people that are just like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to be a musician, or, whatever. So, that feeling of completing a project in general to me is just really gratifying.
I imagine it would be.
What about you, man? What makes you feel accomplished? I know you have some dirt on this question.
Well, the thing is, like, very little, to be honest. The things that make me feel most accomplished are things like I played a game of League of Legends with my good buddies, and it was tough, but we won. That fills me with a sense of accomplishment.
That's a good one.
Making a good meal that people enjoy. That gives me a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah. No, those are great.
Getting a bachelor's degree in chemistry? Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I think for both of us, I think you can probably relate to this, but it was more just like a feeling of relief finishing college, of like, oh, thank God this is over. Not even
mine wasn't even relief, because I was like, what do I do now?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I did the same thing, but like, I didn't even have like a graduation ceremony or anything, not because I chose not to, but because I graduated in 2020. So, it wasn't really like this big, like, wow, my parents invited me over because I graduated roughly around the same time as my dad's birthday, and so we had like a little congratulations for finishing college and also happy birthday to your dad kind of party, which was
the best kind of party.
Yeah, I mean, any reason to celebrate two things in one party is always kind of nice, but like, there was that nice little like, hey, good job, you did it, and we're proud of you, which was really nice, and obviously that feeling of someone else being proud of you, especially to the degree that they were, was nice. But yeah, it was kind of just like oh, thank God I don't have to drive to campus and sit for 4 hours and listen to lectures and do homework and shit anymore.
Yeah.
No, I like your answers though, man, because to me it's like, my answers were finishing a project, which is, a big and long-winded thing a lot of the time, where for you, like, I wish I could feel that satisfaction of completing a meal and, seeing someone enjoy it. Like, that to me is you get more gratifying feelings out of smaller things, whereas I have to have these big projects.
It's nice, but at the same time, like, I don't really get that sense of accomplishment for a lot of big stuff. Like, right. Bigger stuff tends to me to just be like okay, God, finally it's done.
Right.
Like, cool, now I can go back to playing League of Legends and cooking meals. Like, the things that I enjoy.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I get that. Yeah, it is kind of like in line with your interests. It's like you enjoy League of Legends quite a bit, so when you do something good within, or there is a successful game in League of Legends or whatever it may be, that is a good feeling for you. I'm a big fan of doing all the entertainment shit, so finishing one of those for me is, I guess it's more like you get more out of, or you get more of the feeling of accomplishment from something that's related to something you're actually interested in.
Yes.
I was not interested in college. I don't know if you were or not. I actually don't know the answer to that, but
It's odd. It's college was a weird thing for me because on the one hand, like, I really didn't care at all, but I was also just good at academics in general, and so it was like, well, of course, this is what I'm supposed to do, and it's easy enough, so I did it.
I think I had kind of the opposite thing, whereas like I liked what I was learning, but I am just a horrible learner, student, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
So it was like, I'm interested, but also this is a struggle. So, sue me, I guess. I don't know. Or please don't, but I don't know.
Question's pretty okay, though, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it's always weird because when I initially read them, I'm like, this kind of sucks. And then, we talk about it a little more, and I'm like, well, we did just get a good bit of conversation out. Where are you feeling for it?
Initially, I didn't like the question, and I thought about my answer and was like, okay. Even though I didn't like the question, I guess I did get a pretty good answer out of it, and I feel like most people have something, and if they have nothing, they're probably kind of depressed and, in a bad state, because there's probably something that they feel accomplishment about. They're just having a hard time thinking of it. Too caught up, being sad. Like you do sometimes.
I do want to point out that if you're listening at home or wherever you are, and you can't think of anything that makes you feel accomplished, that's kind of a sign that you should go and try new things. And, maybe you'll find that sense of gratification from, doing something that you're not usually doing in your regular schedule or something like that.
Yeah.
So never be afraid to try new things.
Ideally, you should get a sense of accomplishment from your work.
Yeah, but no one does that.
Well, when I first started moving boxes for a living, I did get a small sense of accomplishment every time we finished the truck on time.
Okay. Well, that's good.
That has since faded.
I mean, when I was interning at a concert venue, at the end of every show, we'd have this thing where, obviously we have to take all the microphones off the drums and help the band load their gear and stuff like that. But once they left and we were shutting down the lights and stuff in the venue, there always was this kind of like pause of like, we did it, And it never really fully went away, but it definitely declined quite a bit, where it's just like, okay, we're going to come back and do this tomorrow.
Yeah. Just another day at the office.
Yep.
But yeah, I think the question's actually surprisingly good. Probably it's better than introverted or extroverted, for sure.
Yeah. I'm thinking A. I think
A.
S is like, to me, like that's the one where we have no doubts whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't think. I kind of doubt there's going to be an S, just because deep questions have a tendency to brush on, harsh vibes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This one was, the reason why we put 11 was because I didn't want to end on this, because I don't think it's a super great question.
Yeah.
But what's your favorite book/movie, and we can add in video games if you want, of all time, and why did it speak to you that way? I think I worded it slightly different for the sake of fitting it on the list, but
Ooh, ba-da-ba-ba. Why did it speak to you so much is the wording on the actual article.
I saved myself half of a letter.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't really have a good answer for this one.
Picking favorites is always a weird thing because, like, I don't know. A lot of the time, it's really easy to think of things that you like and much harder to pick a favorite.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, you like things for innocuous reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess it's possible that there's something that out there that you absolutely, like, you feel really, really passionately about.
Right.
But, my favorite book series of all time, I'm not going to just pick one book, I'm going to pick the series, is The Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I like it because it is cool. And it
Yeah.
involves big philosophy and mythology and magic.
Yeah.
And there you go. Why did it speak to me? Because it's cool.
Yeah. In a similar sense, we talked about the fiction book episode that we did on season 1. Was for me was Bone was a childhood favorite of mine, and my girlfriend bought me the full series of the original series in color, all in one book, which is hard to find and expensive, but she found that for me, and I, was just awestruck by that. But yeah, it's like I love those books. They teach a lot about kind of more mature adult themes like death and stuff like that, but they do it in a way that is still kind of child
Kid friendly. Yeah.
Why does it speak to me? It's mostly the artwork is super cool, but also it's not like one of those like, oh, there's this beautiful part where they tell the moral of the story. No, it's like it looks cool. It's a good story. It's an adventure. That's there's not like a lot to it where it's I don't know. There's nothing about it that really like speaks to me in a certain way. I enjoy it. I can't really explain it.
Yep. And that's how I feel it'll probably be for like most people.
Yeah. You could really just ask like, what's your favorite book or movie? And
Yeah.
like, what do you like about it? That might be a little bit easier. You could say I like the story, I like the cinematography, I like the actors or the characters, or it's a little easier to get into that. But why did it speak to you so much? It's not the worst thing in the world.
Not great phrasing.
Yeah. Trying to look at the list now that we have quite a few on there to say, is it better than this question or this question, like you did earlier?
I think it's C. Because I don't think it's like...
Yeah.
It's a pointless question. It's a fine question. Like, there's nothing wrong with this question. You're not going to offend anybody by asking this question, but also, like, your answer, unless you happen to like or be familiar with whatever it is that they talk about here, this does nothing for you. It's fine. Like, yeah, it's cool to know, I guess.
I feel like it's not that deep of a question.
It's not. It could potentially be deep if you had something that you really cared about. Like if there was, a book that you really loved because you really related to the story of the main character and their struggles with their family and coming to terms with their own self-worth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, sure, whatever. Unlikely.
Yeah. I'm kind of feeling D, to be honest with you.
I mean, I think it's for deep questions. Maybe it's bad, but I don't think the problem with philosophy in life is that it's open-ended. It's too nebulous of a question, and then you get your answer and it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. This is like a very like pointed question. It has an answer, probably. I'm assuming it'd be weird if it didn't, but you could probably come up with an answer. But then you get the answer, and it's just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay, no, fair enough. See, it goes. I Favorite book slash movie, and why did it speak to you so much?
Don't type out the whole thing.
Nope, I did. Too late.
Oh, no.
Okay, so this was the one that I kind of thought it'd be better to end on because I didn't want to end on that favorite book or movie thing. What is a relationship deal breaker for you? And I'm going to open this one up a little bit more and say it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship because, you know, like you can have a friendly relationship and, you know, there could be deal breakers in that as well. But we can answer it however we see it. A big one for me is people who are like overly centered on negativity or drama of people that, you know, I don't relate to. And I hate saying it that way, but it's like if I were friends with somebody and they were having some drama with other friends that I don't know and that was all they talked about, I'd be like, dude, I don't know how to help you. You know, I hate saying it that way, you know, but it's like I'm not one to bring up my personal issues with friends that I have or family or, you know, anything like that. I don't like to talk about it. You know, it's like if I have a problem, I'll sort it out myself. And so when I hear people that are just like kind of complaining just for the sake of complaining, especially when it's, you know, unrelated to whatever the previous conversation was, I don't know, there's just something about it where I'm like, I can't have this conversation without being very annoyed.
Interesting.
Like you. No, I'm just kidding.
I have some friends that are exactly like that. Like, 60% of what we talk about is just, you know, drama they've got going on with their people.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually fine with. I like being I don't know, a social advisor, even though I suck at social things. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy kind of giving my 2 cents on things and, like, just... because I am such a content individual and I'm so willing to just accept things for how they are, it's really interesting for me to, like, talk with people about how they're not content with how things are.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I actually kind of, you know, appreciate sometimes having people with, like, genuine things that they are complaining about and that they are trying to do something about and to fix. As far as the relationship deal breaker goes, honestly, like, I've said this every time any question like this has ever come up. It's loyalty. That's the most important trait.
Yeah.
And being a traitor gets you executed.
Now hold on. Are we allowed to say that?
I mean,
what's the statute of limitations on your last execution? I feel like we could do a whole episode on this one question, but yeah, there's a. I'll come up with an example of what I meant by the overly negative, overly centered on. This isn't someone who was overly centered on drama necessarily by the example, but there was a girl that I dated in high school. If you know me in person, I'm sure you know the one, but I don't want to, you know, no bad blood or anything. But I remember we were having a conversation about like dream houses or something like that. You know, like what kind of house would you want to live in if you had like all the money in the world? You know, like where would you want to live? What kind of house would it be? Stuff like that. And we sat through this whole conversation, which was probably like 20 minutes. And it wasn't, I don't know how to describe it. You know, it was a good conversation. We were like, oh, like that'd be cool to have, you know, like your house in your location or your dream house in your dream location. You know, like that would be my dream place. And, you know, we were just going through this whole thing of like, you know, what would be a cool dream house. And then this girl that I was dating kind of just abrupted the entire conversation by pointing out that she lives in a trailer park. And we're like, that wasn't the conversation, and why did you bring that up out of nowhere? And like, Do you want us to just stop and feel bad? I don't know how to react to this, you know? And, you know, here's the thing, and judge me all you want for doing this, but I'm not really a person who's going to say, like, I'm sorry to hear that about something that has nothing to do with me. So,
Yeah.
like, if someone has some sort of issue, and it's not, like, super, super serious, you know, if they're just like, oh, you know, like that, like, I grew up in a trailer park, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry. Because it's like, I don't know, there's something about that where I'm just like, I don't like, you know, feeling the
I
need
mean,
to apologize for something that has absolutely nothing to do with me.
to be clear, I don't think "I'm sorry" is like a very good response to that, anyways.
Yeah, but what is the thing? Like, you know, I could
Well,
probably get
I
into the
think like
conversation of that, but
I think the thing to do there is just like a okay, but where would you like to live?
yeah,
Whoop. Then just swoop that right back into the main conversation. Just okay, but where would you like to live? What's your
yeah,
dream house? I mean, I know that's probably not where you want to live. And if it is, awesome, congratulations. But but where would you like to be instead? You just like
yeah.
loop it back in. I
Looking
mean, I
back, that
see
would have been the
the
best way to do it, but
I see the what you mean with the person like just you just having a nice, chill, happy, interesting conversation, about potential future happiness,
hmm
and then they're just like, "Here's my current personal sadness."
right, yeah. To me, that is like a 100% a relationship deal breaker, where it's like the, you know, like don't think about it so much. The reason why we're having these like dream conversations or anything like that is so you can dream, you know.
Yeah,
It's a weird one for me. I don't quite know how to word it, but it's like that overt negativity that kind of comes up out of nowhere. It bothers the hell out of me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you know, that you're having issues with whatever thing that you bring up is, but I don't like it.
yeah.
That being said, I do really like this question, even though it is like more negativity kind of stuff. At least it's not making you center in on yourself quite as much.
Yeah, the only thing that this wouldn't kind of it has the potential to make one think about a relationship that had broken
Yeah.
and how that has affected them. Because, like, I've never had anyone, like, cheat on me or anything. That's not
hmm
why,
Loyalty.
yes, that's not why loyalty.
Yeah.
However, I can imagine that being something that someone might say for that reason, and
Right.
bring it up, making them think about relationships that have gone awry.
Right. I'll say one more just because, again, I could talk about this question for a whole episode of this podcast, but people who think that all silence is awkward silence, don't be doing that. If I'm sitting in my car and I'm blasting some music that I really enjoy, don't sit there and be like, "Well, this is awkward." Like, no, jam out with this song. Like, we don't have to talk at every minute of every, you know, part time that we're together.
I
It's
mean, for
just,
me, like that's another thing where I'm like, okay, well, they clearly just like aren't that comfortable yet, and
I
we
mean,
just
yeah,
need to like get a little bit more comfortable with one another so that they're chill with just being quiet and just basking in each other's presence.
yeah, and that's something I'm always pretty comfortable, even with people I don't know super well. It's like I'm not gonna sit
Yeah,
there and try to like force a conversation unless I can tell that they're uncomfortable. In which case, you know, I might try a little bit more. But like
yeah.
the other day, me and my girlfriend were in the car, and I shouldn't be telling this story because she's gonna hear this and be like, "What the hell?" I was listening to an album that I really, really enjoy because of the guitar work. And so there was a part of the song where, like, cool guitar parts coming up, so I turned it up a little bit, and I'm just sitting there, like, jamming to it, and, kind of like halfway trying to play along with it while I'm driving. Mm-hmm. Not in a dangerous way, but, I'm just sitting there, like, okay, I gotta do like these things.
Yeah, 2 hands off the wheel.
Yeah, 2 hands off the wheel, like, openly strumming an air guitar.
Yeah.
We crashed. No, I'm kidding.
The musician life, I get it.
Yeah. Crash your car for the sake of air guitaring along to a song.
Yeah.
No, but I'm sitting there like tapping on the steering wheel, just trying to think about what fret, what strings, whatever. Anyway, I'm sitting there doing that, and I'm like bobbing my head along. The music's a little bit louder than usual, and then she was just trying to like talk over it about something. I don't know. Again, like. I feel so bad saying it this way. She was talking about something that I cared about, don't get me wrong, but it was also just like, I could tell that she felt like there was an awkwardness to us just sitting there listening to the song. And I was like, no, but it's good music, though. I must be difficult to date. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know.
That was good. She was talking about something.
Talking about some shit. I don't know. I wasn't
paying
attention. I was trying to listen to guitar
I'm sitting here
stuff.
jamming out to the song, and then she comes over here talking or something. Like,
oh, how did you make me sound horribly sexist?
Oh my god, that's. I don't think I had to do anything.
God. Yeah, you're right. That was all on me. I don't know. It's just
really funny though.
It's just one of those things where it's like if I don't know, maybe it's the musician in me, but like if I hear someone listening to music, I will stop talking. It's like just enjoy your shit.
Yeah.
Or I might occasionally just be like, oh, like what band is this, or what artist or song or whatever.
Excuse me. Could you turn your music down?
I want to talk about the dogs.
I mean, I get where you're coming from with the silence thing, though.
You understand what I'm saying about the silence thing?
I do. Okay. It's
like it
happens
to breathe,
a lot when you're first like hanging out with somebody.
Yeah.
There's always these moments where you're just like, so let me fill the awkward silence, right?
Yeah.
But at the point where you know somebody pretty well, the awkward silence isn't really awkward silence anymore. Yeah. It's just, a lull in the conversation. You just, maybe they're jamming out to a song, maybe they're just taking a moment to think, maybe they're actually driving.
Yeah.
And they're paying attention to the road or something. That'd be wild.
Or maybe they're driving and they're air guitaring along to a song and they just want to crash the car.
Maybe. And who are you to stop them?
The driver. I am the driver.
But the point is, yes, it's something that should disappear as you get to know somebody more, because you know that the silence is not because you don't know each other and because things are weird. The silence is there because they're chilling, they're thinking, they're jamming, they're, doing something.
Or maybe they're just, like, tired.
But...
Yeah. Maybe that social battery is just depleted, and they're just like, all right, let's get
maybe they're busy thinking about the Hypnotoad. It happens to the best of us.
Subscribe to Tier List Tuesdays and follow them on social media. I'm gonna put the Hypnotoad over that.
All right, sounds good, bud.
Anyway, let's cut this off. We're getting to the later parts of the podcast. No one's watching anymore. Who cares?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, bro.
I'm sick of talking about this stuff. And
Where's
I'm
my
hosting
awkward silence?
Oh yeah. You want to get one good 5 seconds of awkward silence then?
I think we've had more than enough in this podcast.
That's fair. Where do you want this question to go? I'm kind of thinking A.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. That's not A. A is like good,
I mean, Again, I think the question is, it's fine. It has a potential to like upset somebody, but the answers are going to be like teaching you about the person's value and whatnot. And every one of these questions has a chance to like upset somebody. Although I think this one is slightly more so than the others.
Okay.
I do think it's better than introverted or extroverted though. So whatever.
Hey, it is. Okay, and that covers it for the Deep Questions tier list brought to you by thoughtcatalog.com. Thank you for letting us rip your shit off and grade you on it without your consent.
Thank you for letting us by not doing anything to actively stop us.
There it is.
The absence of a no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get it. Anyway, I'll read these off really quick. We have nothing in the F tier, which is kind of a surprise, but at the E tier, we have which parent are you closer to and why, and what is the best and worst phase of your life. At D, we have what is your philosophy in life. At the C tier, we have what would you change about yourself, are you religious or spiritual, and your favorite book/movie, and why did it speak to you so much. At the B tier, we have are you introverted or extroverted? And at the A tier, we have is what you're doing now what you've always wanted to do growing up? What makes you feel accomplished? And what are your relationship deal breakers? There is no top tier, God tier, deep question from this list, but we do recommend if you are trying to get to know somebody, the A tier questions are probably your best bets to get a conversation going.
Yep, I agree. Cool. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful Tuesday. The first Tuesday of a fantastic new year and a fantastic new season. Last year was a pleasure, and we hope this one will be even better. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Hypnotoad wants you to subscribe to Tier List Tuesdays.